49ers went off.
Because he's a jerk.
Yeah, he was so mad because they beat the Bears on Monday Night Football. That's the way I recall. You can ask him, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
He's a jerk.
He fucking hated the 49ers. He still does, I know, but like back then, woo.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's look here. Evil Dead 2 is my number one. Blake's is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. Vic's is Hellraiser. We all had Hellraiser in our top 4. We all had A Nightmare on Elm Street in our top 3. I think, could be mistaken, but I think A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 would average out to be our number 1, with Hellraiser being our number 2. So, pretty nice. I mean, we still agreed on some things, right? Nobody would have Opera or Angel Heart in their top 10 other than me and Blake. And nobody would have Slumber Party Massacre 2 in their top 10 other than Vic. So, other than that, though, I guess it wasn't that different. Vic, I can't believe you don't have Prince of Darkness. You've never seen it, have you?
I've never seen it, no.
Yeah, it's some weird shit, so you need to watch it. I think you'd like the concept, because basically they find Satan trapped in some weird portal in a basement of a church. Does that sound about right, Blake?
That's about right, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird fucking movie, but it's good. Yeah, so I don't own it, or else I'd make you watch it, Vic.
Well, you should watch.
Yeah, I know. I should. But you know me, I always wait for things to be like cheap. So, all right. So I told you guys I wanted to talk about 1987, right? After we were done here?
Yeah. Yes.
So this is going to sound like a weird thing. I told you before the show got going that I had a hard time having just 10. And that's true. And now, again, let me just take Predator away from what I was about to talk about, okay? So let me just say that right off the bat. Predator is not involved in the conversation I'm about to have. My opinion, 1987 was good, but it was not great. The movies in 1987, for me, there was no one movie in this top 10 that are like one of my favorite movies. Again, if you don't count Predator, none of these movies are any of my favorite movies. They were all good, but I don't think in some of the other years that any of these would have been a number 1. I feel like it was just kind of weeding out the weak, you know? Like Evil Dead 2 is awesome, but there's a lot of years it wouldn't have been number 1. A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, great movie. I wouldn't have had it so high in other years. Opera, same deal. Hellraiser, same deal. There were certain years that these movies probably would have been kind of low on the list. I feel like this 87 was good but not great. So that's what I'm trying to say, is that it had a ton of good movies, but none of them blew me away, is all. You know? If that makes sense. That's just me, though. I'm sure you guys might disagree, and that's fine.
No, I mean, I tend to, outside of Hellraiser, which obviously I have a love for, I mean, I'd agree. But even so, like, I don't know if Hellraiser is on my top 5. I mean, all the 80s. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. For vampire movies, if we were going just general by decades, you know, 80s and 90s, Bram Stoker's Dracula and Fright Night would outdo Near Dark and Lost Boys easily. You know, so I'm not judging you at all.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was sitting there with like 3 different movies, and I'm like, any one of them could be number 1, but they're not my favorite movies either. So they're all good, but none of them are my favorite. So I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. So Vic, I have a feeling that you've watched absolutely nothing. So if I'm wrong, correct me real quick.
Nah, that's a pretty good feeling, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, right? You know, I didn't want to assume things. You know what assumption does, right? Or what it is, right? It's the mother of all fuck-ups.
That's out of you and me.
So I want to start off at the movies I've seen at the theater, because, you know, it's a lot, right? Blake's talking to his wife. All right.
Oh, we were talking about this Christmas themed horror movie. If you guys haven't seen it, it's one of the newest ones we saw. I recommend it. It's badass. Oh man,
What?
It's great. It's called Not a Creature Was Stirring. Have you seen it?
Oh, I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, you have to fucking watch this, dude. Oh man, it is fucking great.
Not a Creature Was Stirring.
Yeah. It's. I'll give you a little bit of a premise without giving away anything. So there are couples on a date, and they go see this sort of play where nobody's really in costumes. They just have like a few little props. They're dressed in normal clothes, and they're acting out these scenarios. And it's based on lines from Night Before Christmas. Shows The Night Before Christmas, and it's fucked up. It gets progressively more fucked up as it goes along. You got to fucking watch it. It's been a long time since I've seen a Christmas themed horror movie that made me want to watch it again and again.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. I'll keep that in mind. Absolutely.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt your guys' stuff.
No, you're not bothering me at all. So I'm just going to run through what I've seen at the theater. I'm going to give very quick thoughts because it's a bunch of them, because it's been a month since we've been on here. So let me go quickly. I saw Creed 2, the sequel to Creed, like the 7th Rocky movie or 8th or whatever the fuck it is. An awesome throwback to Rocky 4. I give it 4 out of 4. It's a fucking great movie. I saw Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's got some good Easter eggs, but it's not as good as the first one, in my opinion. It's a lot of Disney shit, so if you like Disney, you're good with that. If not, it's not as good as the first one. 3 out of 4. I saw The Front Runner. It's a story about Gary Hart's bid for the presidency in the 80s. It's a good story, and it's enjoyable, even if you don't care about politics. I give it 3 out of 4. I saw The Green Book. It's your typical, racism in the 60s or 70s type deal. I think it was 70s in the South. 3.5 for that. Really good story, but again, typical of racial movies. I saw, and this is a horror movie, The Possession of Hannah Grace. It's a different type of possession movie because it takes place in a morgue and there's some other shit that's going on with it. But it really didn't deliver like I wanted it to. So 2.25 out of 4 machetes on that one. Don't go out of your way to see Possession of Hannah Grace. Watch it if you get the chance, but don't go to the theater unless you've got some subscription service like I do. I saw Robin Hood, and this movie got shit on, and it bombed at the box office, but it really wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It had some cool archery in it. It was better than it was reviewed, 2.75 out of 4. I saw The Nutcracker in the Four Realms. This is another one that didn't get great reviews or box office, but it wasn't a bad family movie. It was better than it was reviewed. 3 out of 4. I saw Elf 15th Anniversary, which I watched it just because it's in theaters, and I watched it for the first time, whenever it first came out. So I figured, fuck it, I'll watch it 15 years later. I'm watching it for free. Still a decent movie, but not a great Christmas movie, as Vic has pointed out before. 3 out of 4 for that. I saw Once Upon a Deadpool. And it's basically Deadpool 2 reworked into a PG-13 movie, but they added a bunch of shit that was pretty awesome. 4 out of 4 for it. It's worth seeing even if you've seen Deadpool 2. Fellas, I saw Schindler's List for the first time. I've never seen that fucking movie, but I figured, a week after Pearl Harbor Day, I should check it out. And I did. And I don't know what to tell you other than it's 3+ hours of just depression. But it's a fucking, fantastic movie. Definitely have to see it. 4 out of 4, but again, take some time out of your fucking day if you're going to watch that movie. It is long, but Liam Neeson's awesome in it, so is Ralph Fiennes. Mortal Engines, I saw that on Friday. This is another, futuristic movie. It's kind of shot like Lord of the Rings because, it's Peter Jackson's screenplay. The previews really didn't do this movie justice. I give it 3.25 out of 4. It bombed at the box office, it looks like. Got its ass kicked by the next movie that I watched, which was today, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I thought it was overrated. Like, Vic, did you see Shaq was talking about how great it was?
Yeah.
It was.
I guess it was
3 out of 4. It was 3 out of 4 for me. Okay. Now, a little bit of my comic book rage was what brought it down a bit, because some of the fucking villains, like, they turn certain villains like, okay, you ever heard of Dr. Octopus?
Yeah.
Well, that's a guy. In this movie, it's a girl. And I know I can explain that away because it's different, like, dimensions, but it just annoyed me for obvious reasons. And so, like I said, in the animation, there was something about Vic, I don't know if I've told you this, but there's a reason I don't like anime. When people tell me how great anime is, I'm like, great, but I can't fucking focus on the fact that the anime looks like shit. I hate it. So it wasn't like that, but there were some things about it that just bothered me. Like, some of the villains looked fucking weird. So 3 out of 4 for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Isla liked it a lot, so there's that. She was excited the whole time. And, okay, so that's all the movies I saw at the theaters. Now I'll quickly run through some others. I'm currently in the midst of watching Krampus the Christmas Devil on Tubi. Don't waste your time unless you just want to see some random tits, just because. I mean, you can get that anywhere, but it's not good. Christmas Chronicles with Kurt Russell on Netflix. 3 out of 4 on that. It's all about Kurt Russell. If you don't like Kurt Russell, you shouldn't be fucking watching the movie, because to me, he carried the movie. It's 3 out of 4. My wife loved it. I thought it was good. It got a ton of watches on Netflix. I watched Black Christmas. I don't need to talk about that. We know all about that. Silent Night, Deadly Night. We know all about that. I watched Puka on Hulu. Okay, so fellas, I've mentioned this before, but Hulu is doing this thing where they're doing like a horror movie for every holiday, or at least the major holidays, and they did Halloween, they did Thanksgiving. Halloween one was really good. Thanksgiving was This Christmas one was decent. It had a lot of twists and turns, and it was kind of a different type of horror movie. It gets 2.75 out of 4. If you have Hulu, you should watch it. It's pretty damn good. And then last thing, and I just throw this out here because we did an episode on Twilight Zone. On December 11th, I watched Twilight Zone when the sky was open. Just, 30-minute episode. And it's one of my favorites. It was Final Destination before Final Destination was ever thought of, minus the violence. So, good stuff. I enjoyed it. And that is my fucking list, and I am now beat from talking. So, anyone who wants to talk, Blake, especially if you've watched anything beyond And Not a Creature Was Stirring, talk about it.
Okay, as long as Vic's okay with that.
Well, it's not like Vic's going to talk.
Vic talk.
He's silent Vic. You know that.
I was asking if as long as it was okay with you, I'll talk about a couple of the ones that I've seen lately. But otherwise, I mean, you definitely can go first.
Oh, Vic hasn't seen anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, all right. I mean,
he hasn't. He's been working his dick into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Ralph Breaks the Internet. It was okay.
Me too.
It was
okay, right?
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first one. There were some neat little things in there.
This one was
especially
all about
going to
Disney
the eBay section.
Right.
Yeah.
This was more about like Disney and the internet as opposed to like arcade games. And which one do we like better? I would assume you and I probably like arcade games a little bit better than Disney.
Oh, for sure, man. Fucking Centipede, Galaga. Come on, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I did see the Christmas Chronicles. I thought it was really, really good. And I don't know if you guys know this, but he oftentimes, Kurt Russell is the singing voice for movies where they are movies about Elvis Presley. He oftentimes is contracted to sing for those. And my wife and I were married by one of the Elvises that was in the casino that they robbed in 3,000 Miles to Graceland. So I got to hear a little bit about that stuff, and all that. But that movie was really good. Not a Creature Was Stirring was really good. We did watch Dagon. That's a movie I bought for my wife. It's kind of like an early Christmas present. It's an H.P. Lovecraft thing. There's lots of really good gore. There's some discrepancies within it. And then there's the whole weird, sister brother lover type weird shit that goes on in the middle of it. They're like fish people. So it's Lovecraft. It's Lovecraft. That's what it is. But we watched that, and then I don't think that I've watched anything. My kids have got me on a kick of watching trying to get me to watch some anime, some stuff that they watch, which I